Hi, friends. It is Tuesday, February 23rd, as we continue on with our next mini lesson. If you have been following along in your binders, you'll be looking here on page 27 for some of the handouts that we're going to be showing you on the screen for today, page 27. Let's go ahead and get started here. Now, we know that literary nonfiction texts often use vivid and very rich language to help readers visualize the story unfolding. Now, there may be new or unfamiliar vocabulary words for readers to figure out as they read and make meaning of the text. And today, we're going to practice making meaning out of some of the new or unfamiliar words we encounter as we revisit our mentor text, A Drop Around the World. Now, as we go back to through our text today, we're going to pay close attention to some of the rich and vivid words the author uses to help us visualize the story. Some of these words may be new or unfamiliar to us. And when we encounter these types of words, we will use one of the detective strategies we've learned early in our study of nonfiction, which is using our word parts. Okay, looking at the structure of words to help determine the meaning. So let's take a look at some of these new word parts we may be encountering today. We have what are called prefixes, which are the parts that come at the beginning of our main word, and suffixes. So we know if we have re in the front of our word here, our base word, usually that is going to attach the meaning of again. Okay, like return. If I return something, I'm going to give something back again. Now, for here usually has this idea of a meaning of attachment of before or previously. Now, suffixes don't come at the beginning, they actually come at the end of our main word here. We may attach the letter Y, which a lot of times is going to give this idea of characterizing it as something. ly refers to the characteristics of something. Ous usually has something to do with the qualities of a subject. Ness is when we attach that on, it gives it the idea of a state or in the condition of. Ify, when we attach that to the end, is making similar to or become. And then IZE, again, is that idea of become or like. Now, you may be a little confused, so why don't we kind of practice putting those together? So as we read today, we're going to use this chart here, okay? And this is the next handout that you have here in your binder. And with the new word parts that we've just learned, we're going to keep track of our noticings. And as you see, some of the words are already listed here on our chart, and there's also spaces for us to add maybe some other words. So let's follow along. Let's listen closely for new or unfamiliar words that can use in one of our that uses one of our word parts. And if you hear an unfamiliar word, I want you to make note of it in your chart. I'll be sure to point out a few as well. Okay? All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get started in our story of A Drop Around the World. Okay, so with A Drop Around the World, listen for this first word, refreeze, as I read it to you today. One April day, it melts away, meandering its way toward May. Icy nights refreeze the drop. Its solid state commands a stop. But warmer mornings let it flow. Stop and go, stop and go. Finally, our drop of rain roars a river's glad refrain. Free and fluid, flowing fast. Free and liquid, loose at last. So listening for that word refreeze, icy nights refreeze the drop. What is that prefix? It would be re, wouldn't it? So if re is the prefix, what would be the root word, the main word here? It would be freeze. So if we try to put down to do something, return and do something again, this idea of happening again, attaching to the word what it means to freeze something, what would that mean altogether? Okay. So we know re is our prefix. We have our base word freeze. So together, the meaning would have this idea of something freezing again, because we know water can freeze again, going from a liquid back to a solid form as well. All right. Our next word here is milkiness. I don't see anything on the beginning of it, but I do see that NESS at the end, that suffix. So let's listen and find it in our book and how it's used. Here we go. Mixed up in a pail of milk, it's poured in a glass as smooth as silk, but slips from Heidi's little hands and forms a puddle where she stands. Puddle drop is warmed away like a helium balloon at play. Its milkiness is left behind. Vapor pure, it's been refined. Okay, so it's milkiness because we know that the water has now mixed in here with the milk and then it's fallen out. So the milkiness. Now I know that obviously then it's coming at the end. And like I said before, that ness is my suffix. Do you look back at that chart? Do you remember what my chart said about ness? It's the state or condition of. So we're talking about the state or condition of the milk at that point, right? And there's that base word, milk or milky. So what do you think that means, leaving behind its milkiness? All right, let's review. Oh, it's the state of being milky, right? Okay, so we know it's in the state of the milk. So in that milkiness state is where the water had found itself. Okay, so jungly, let's go ahead. I'm just going to read through and I want you to think about, obviously, we're looking at our suffix ly, what we think this could mean as we take note here today. All right, here we go. As vapor adrift at a lazy pace, drop finds itself in a jungly place. Water, water everywhere. Rainforests have such humid air. So if we're describing it in a jungly place, I know my suffix is ly, lee, and the base word is jungle. So what does it mean for it to be in a jungly state? Looking back at that ly, having the characteristics of, right? So it's finding itself to have the characteristics of a jungle. Okay, so jungly would be describing something to have those jungle characteristics. All right, let's take a look at our next one. Forewarn. Overseas, our drop is sped on electric flight in a thunderhead. Monsoon winds forewarn Mumbai. The raindrop army storms July. Ooh, forewarn. Okay, so I have a prefix here, for, right? So my prefix would be for, and the root word is warn. What does it mean to warn something? If you're giving a warning, you're kind of signaling something, like something bad's about to happen, right? So if I'm saying it's a forewarning, it's happening before, right? So if I forewarn, I'm trying to give some type of warning before something bad happens. I'm trying to send out that signal in advance. It's for warning of that monsoon, that storm that's happening. All right, let's take a look at vandalize. So I have that suffix eyes, I-Z-E here, and vandal. What's your understanding of the word vandal? What do you think it means? All right, well, I know already that I-Z-E is going to be that idea of becoming or become like. Ooh, and vandal here is the word. Let's see how it's being used in the text. There it topples a mango cart and vandalizes Asian art. Flooding drop flows back to sea, but in its wake leaves tragedy. So if it's vandalizing the Asian art, I don't think that's a good thing, is it? Okay, and I know a vandal would be something that's destroying something, right? It's causing some kind of destruction or damage. So it's that process, right? It's becoming destroyed. It's vandalizing the art. The art is being destroyed because of that storm. Okay, last word we're going to take a look at here from our mentor text. We have the word wonder as our base word, and then O-U-S. So what does that suffix mean? Let's look at it. Ooh, so having the qualities. So if I'm saying what a wonder and having the qualities of a wonder, all right, let's see it in context as well. Frozen land waits long for spring. At last it comes, a wondrous thing. Melting snow and sunny days, dress tundra in a brilliant blaze. So that thing it's talking about that the land is becoming is saying that is a wondrous thing. So I'm describing that land as being quite a wonder. Do you picture something beautiful? Oh, I do. Okay. So wondrous is amazing. It's describing as something as being amazing, catching your eye, fascinating. All right. So as you investigate some text here, there are other spaces of words that you may notice when you're reading your own that include prefixes and suffixes as well. Okay. Yeah, we know already that today we have practiced making meaning out of some unfamiliar words by using word parts. Okay, so we have new words here. We've looked at prefixes and suffixes and also kind of thinking about what our root word may be. Okay, we've also looked at it in context in the story and tried to figure out what it might mean. Now, friends, this is an important skill to have as readers of nonfiction because we often encounter new words that writers include to help us learn and visualize. So let's keep this in mind as we read independently. Now, for my Zoomies today, I have a worksheet here that I've put into a Google form, and it's called Piece It Together. Now, I've given you the root word here, and I've talked a little bit about what that root word has that meaning there. Okay, so the root of this word for therm, it has attached this meaning of heat. Meter has something to do with measuring. To dict something is to say, like a dictation. Sphere has something to do with that globe shape. So use that, please, to answer these questions in here and try to attach a meaning. So if I know therm has something to do with heat, then what would be a thermometer? We have thermometer together. Pre means before, right? So dict means, what did my chart say? Able is the idea of you can do something, having the ability. Therefore, if it is predictable, what do you think that means? All right, so auto means vapor or air. Going back up here. So sphere, and that is not supposed to be auto, friends. That's supposed to be atmos. I was like, auto, that's really strange. So atmos, let me go ahead and I will change that over for you guys. We don't want that silly kind of atmos. There we go. Means water or vapor, and sphere means what? So therefore, atmosphere would mean what? Okay, what would be the meaning of an atmosphere? And we probably have some background knowledge on this as well. All right, so let me flip out and close this for today. So don't forget, friends, to complete that Google form for us. Also, you do have this handout starting at page 27 in your toolbox, in your binders here, that you can also investigate some additional text there, maybe in a Scholastic News, and making some meanings to some new words. Notice any prefixes or suffixes that you come across. All right, so I hope you've had a good day with your lesson. Until next time.